I want to take today and talk about this US EU trade deal. See, it was announced over the weekend and yesterday, and now information is starting to roll out. Both the White House and the EU has sort of like published their main points on the deal, and there seems to be some glaring discrepancies. I actually took some time. We sort of have comparing and contrasting what the White House has said and what the EU has said, and I want to just hit on a couple of them. So first, the White House said that the 15% tariff rate will apply to EU-made pharmaceuticals as of August 1st. The European Union says, no. The 15% rate was going to be discussed post a U.S. investigation. But come August 1st, there are no tariffs on pharmaceuticals. So what do we do on August 2nd? White House says that the EU will invest $600 billion in the U.S. economy and spend $750 billion in U.S. energy by 2028. These are huge numbers. Now, the EU says, wait, this isn't like a legally binding guarantee here. We can't dictate to private industry how much to buy and when to buy. This seems like maybe something that the EU was just like floating as a goal to sort of soften the US up during the tariff talks. But like, it's not a real thing. Japan sort of had a similar comment here last night for their investment dollars in the US. The White House then said for another one, the EU agreed to purchase significant amounts of US military equipment. The European Union said we didn't talk about defense. There was no agreement about defense whatsoever. The White House said that the US and the EU would work together to address non-tariff barriers in agricultural trade, including streamlining requirements for sanitary certificates for things like US pork. The EU Commission said we made zero concessions on food safety and their right to regulate it within the European Union. The White House said the sectorial tariffs on steel, aluminum, and copper will remain unchanged. The EU said, no. We said that there was going to be a quota and then the 50% tariffs would get hit. Also, the White House is saying that the European Union would pay these 50% tariffs. We know that's bull, right? The US, the importer pays that. Anyway, and lastly, the White House says that the US and the EU intend to address unjustified digital trade barriers. This has been a sticking point for Trump and his pals in Silicon Valley. The EU, though, said there was no mention of this whatsoever. Quote, there is absolutely no commitment on digital regulation or digital taxes. That came across from the European Union this morning.